Hi, my name's Jim Wallace. Welcome to another edition of the Goal Show. Goal is Gun Owners Action League. And today we have as our co-host a very familiar face. Pete, how you doing?
Hi, Jim.
You behaving
Nice to be
yourself
with you.
lately?
Mostly.
Mostly, okay, all right. Well, today we have a special guest with us, somebody who's, I guess, brave enough, or sometimes people say foolish enough to run for public office, but probably a lot of you know already, Chris Canning is running for the Senate seat in the Berkshires. Ben Downing has decided to, he's had enough of traveling to Boston, and one can't blame him. It's a little bit of a ride from the Berkshires all the way to Boston on a regular basis. So Chris has decided to throw her hat in the ring, as it is, and run for, say, Senate. So, Chris, you know, what made you decide, let's get this done, let's get going?
There were multiple reasons why I decided to run. One of the first things was I have been the whistleblower on multiple suits. One was on a school district and one was also on a tax fraud case, another part of the state. And I started to realize about the corruption, the nepotism, and a lot of the things that are happening in Massachusetts that really have affected our economy, the jobs, the people, and have created less equity. In addition to that, my own town, I live in one of the hill towns, even though I was born in Pittsfield, had real debates, and I saw people fighting for things in communities divided over money. And the money is there. The thing of it is, you have a lot of people, it's like the blind leading the blind. They go on half information, they don't necessarily know. And for myself, I have 5 university degrees, and I'm finishing now my doctorate in policy. And I think with my work experience overseas, I've worked with the KGB, INL, different contracts. I worked with the presidential court, universities, colleges. As a service, I believe in service above self, first of all. I really feel that I can use my expertise, my education, and my life and work experience to make a difference. At this point, I need to be the public servant. Maybe it's my personality. I need to fix things, and not fix them in a bad way. I mean, find data-driven solutions.
Sure.
And try to drive this, because if we keep doing
That
the
would
same
be
thing,
unique.
it would be unique. But it's like
Yeah.
Einstein says, and I always talk about this: if they really think voting in the same or doing the same thing over and over and over, and you're expecting a different result, Einstein himself said that is the definition of insanity.
Insanity.
Yeah.
You know, we have to stop it.
You know,
And let it begin with me.
interesting you mentioned your overseas experience. I used to, Dan Bosley used to be a state rep from, what was it, North Adams, I guess. He used to actually be on some sort of national committee that used to travel abroad and teach other countries how to actually set up administrations. And some of the stories he would tell about overseas was interesting, to say the least. About
People hear some of my stories, they're like, Chris, if you ever write a book, well, I still have to work in these places.
Yes.
But I've worked for dictators. I've worked for governments with parliaments, you know, different
Sure, yeah.
workups.
Yeah.
What I have found, though, in general, is people are people and government are government. But what you find is wherever you have poverty, you will also have corruption. And people say, well, they're such a well-rounded people. Look at their economy. You know, people do things that they wouldn't normally do for money. And for me, people are like, well, Chris, you know, politicians say, the reality of it is, for me, I've lived in a hut in Africa. I've also lived in the best place you could imagine in Abu Dhabi. You know what? Money doesn't matter. What matters is you know who you are. And I know who I am. I define myself. No one else defines me. And I think that's what's made a real difference. Because people know if I tell them, I have the follow through, I'm going to do it, and that's it.
You know, it's interesting, too, that you say that corruption kind of follows poverty. I've actually said that a lot about crime. And when I've had discussions about gun control or drugs or whatever, I often tell people that crime feeds on poverty. And one of the reasons Massachusetts, even though we do have crime here, and you know we're suffering from the drug epidemic like other people are, but it's not as bad as other places, and a lot of it's because of our economy is pretty good here. It's not like the abject poverty of maybe the Deep South or Appalachia or somewhere like that.